How's it going, everyone? It's Juan Romero here from Switchwatch, back with another review. Today it's a game called Layers of Fear, provided to us by Bruegel, so thank you very much, which brings me nicely onto my question of the day. If you're a horror fan, what game got you into the horror gaming genre? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. But for now, let's get into the Layers of Fear review. Layers of Fear piqued my attention because of its mansion setting, and I'm glad to say that the story is one which will have you wanting to extract every detail. As an unnamed painter who has had some troubles, you return to the beautiful, creepy Victorian mansion and begin your work, only things start turning weird pretty quickly. As you explore the house, you begin to uncover more of the mystery of what happened to you through hallucinations into the past. As the player, you get to experience some of these past situations and get to delve deeper into the relationships you had with your wife and daughter and friends. You'll come across snippets that show the man you are today, who is a shadow of the one he was then. Talent dwindling and your mental capacity in the present is truly questionable. I mean, what sane man is commissioned to draw some pictures for a children's book only to depict horrible pictures of poor little Red Riding Hood getting eaten by a wolf? These are just some of the things you'll come across. As you would expect, the publisher was not too impressed. The game is massively story driven, so I don't want to give too much away here, other than to say some of the things you find out are both fascinating and gruesome. It gives you a first-hand look at how you have become this man that you are now. I could not wait to find the next collectible to extract more of what was going on in this story, and like a good book, I could not wait for the next page. But here, instead of everything being written or told through visual narrative, there is a nice mix of both, with items you find adding more colour to proceedings. In terms of audio, it's excellent here. The atmosphere created is one of fear. As you walk, you can hear the creaking of the floorboards, or how the pitter-patter of the rain can be heard outside, with sporadic bursts of thunder at just the right time to scare the living daylights out of you. This is not one of those run-of-the-mill games which will try and jump scare you every few seconds, although there are a good few of those as well to mix things up. This game expertly builds tension using sound and music in very clever ways. It had me on the edge all the time, and these are the type of horrors that really get under my skin. You may enter a room and hear the scratching of something against the wall, only to think, what on earth is that? And the problem is that you'll rarely see what it is, which for me always makes my imagination run wild. It's the voices that you hear whispering that get in your head as you explore, and made me go to bed late at night, pulling the covers tightly around me and sleeping with the nightlight on. Some real creepy stuff goes on, and with that creepy piano playing, the music just makes it sound so much more atmospheric, and everything sounds so unsettled in this mansion. In terms of visuals and performance, visually the game is very good. Everything is dripping with detail, and the visuals sync up with the audio superbly well, which is what you need in horror games like this for the experience to truly work. All of the game is based in the mansion itself, so for some they may find that there's not enough variety as there's no different settings, but then that would be ultra critical here, as each room is quite unique to say the least. To create the right mood, the developers have used lighting superbly well. Rooms are often lit by candlelight, or you may walk past a window only to see the light from the thunderstorm. In the later chapters, it's like the house is alive, dripping with blood and decaying in front of your eyes. If you've ever seen the film Amityville, then you'll know where I'm coming from. The game scares you in ways you'll not expect, and it's very clever in the way it does so. A lot of love, care and attention has gone onto the visuals, and you can see that this has been a real love affair for the developers, and kudos to them because they've done a really great job in making me feel like I couldn't sleep. There's so many sumptuous details here, and while I would not call these a delight in the context of this game, it's just beautiful to behold. The paintings for me are the real star of the show, transforming before your very eyes, sometimes depicting some terrifying stuff. The visuals do deliver a wonderful feast for the eyes, even if it's not always pleasant. One example which really for some reason stuck with me was finding the illustrations of Little Red Riding Hood, and I don't even want to explain what I saw when I went into a room with a cot in it. That sent shivers down my spine. I was even happier though with the game's performance. It's been very well ported over from the PC, and it was a pleasure to play in both docked and handheld mode. There was some stutters at times and some loading when you open doors, however these are negatable. In terms of gameplay department, you can control our protagonist by using a Joy-Con in each hand, which I found worked best and is how the developers asked you to play at the beginning of the game. It works well because you can use the analog sticks to control both the camera and the movement of our character, and you can also use motion controls to open doors or drawers and stuff like that. It seems as though lately I've reviewed quite a few games where the game is more of a vehicle for the story more than anything else. In this game it's no different. While Night in the Woods and Old Man's Journey are of course different games, the similarities in gameplay is comparable in that there's not a huge amount of it. This in reality is a walking simulator, and the problem with that is there is sometimes a lack of interaction or meaningful things you can actually do. As an example, early on you need to open doors or search drawers, and when you've opened a multitude of drawers and there's nothing to really interact with other than in a handful of them, it starts to become a tad tiresome. But I can level the same criticisms at many games like this. I felt more could have been done with the puzzle aspects of the game as well. It would have been great had there been a few more brain teasers here and there in the rooms, which meant moving some objects around, but unfortunately it's lacking in this department. You kind of just have to move around the room, move out the door, and then it changes and move back in again for the game to enter its set piece. Here you'll have to explore room after room to solve some very basic puzzles, and there isn't really any backtracking because the game is quite clever in the way that it wants you to concentrate on one room at a time most often than not, and it will lock the door behind you. In an interesting twist, you'll go out of the room you just came in after solving the puzzle and you'll end up somewhere different. It's like the house moves while you're in that room somehow, and you won't know sometimes whether you're in a delusion or if it's reality, which is rather compelling. The experience is linear, you can't die. In my 5-hour playthrough I never got stuck, and so there isn't much of a challenge in that regard. You'll not encounter enemies and you won't have to struggle to get past them or manage an inventory or ammunition or anything like that, so in that respect you could consider the game to be vastly different to many other horror games out there. And if you're looking for the type of game, then I would wait for something like Hollow, which we're going to be reviewing very soon. That's also in the first person perspective. Once you complete the game, you come back to the mansion to play the downloadable content if you want, which comes with this particular game. While this doesn't add anything new, it prolongs the experience, which is certainly not a bad thing here. In terms of value, the game is currently $19.99 or £17.99 in the UK, and while it's more on the expensive side of the eShop, you're also getting a really good quality product here. It's only £1 more expensive than on Steam, but here you get the added benefit of portability. I'm glad to see that this has been priced similarly to on other platforms. The DLC is included, which adds another hour and a half or so to the already good 5-hour playthrough. I don't think that once you're done though you're going to probably want to replay this again. You'll probably move on, but if I had paid £17.99 I would have been happy with the experience overall. But then again, that's because I personally love horror games. So in summary, this is a horror game that uses what you can't see to build tension. It expertly builds an atmosphere through its wonderful use of sound and visuals, with the paintings themselves being the real star of the show. While the gameplay leaves a little bit to be desired in that there could have been more for the player to do, by design, this is a walking simulator after all, for you to experience a very good horror story which will keep you glued until the credits roll. If you're a horror fan and want something a little different, then this is a worthwhile game to experience and to add to your collection. But if you're searching for something more involving or you're scared easily, then you best look elsewhere. This for me then was a 7.5 out of 10, really enjoyable, and if you like this review guys, please hit that thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. And if you're a new subscriber here, then check out our channel for more reviews like this one. If you really want to read the review, then head over to switchwatch.co.uk for the written review and how we break down our scores. Lastly, leave me a comment and let me know what your favourite horror game was that got you into the horror genre. Mine was definitely Resident Evil 1 back on the PlayStation 1. Yes, it was a long time ago, but I still love that game today. My name's Juan Romero from Switchwatch. I hope you enjoyed it guys. I'll see you on the next one.